Now, Hunt Palmer on 104.5 ESPN Baton Rouge. Holding down the middle of the day. Live from the Mercedes-Benz of Baton Rouge studios. This is Hunt Palmer.
Welcome in. Hunt Palmer coming to you from the Mercedes-Benz of Baton Rouge studio downtown in the capital city on this Wednesday. Tigers get a win in Hoover, wrapped up in perfect time for us to basically have a post-game show, right? Got Casey Gaines and Jacob Beck back there on the ones and twos with you for 2 hours. Going to be a lot of LSU baseball today. LSU gets a win to open their Southeastern Conference tournament play. They will move on to take on the winner of the next game. It's going to be Arkansas and Texas A&M, and put themselves in phenomenal position in this Southeastern Conference baseball tournament. We'll chat with Chris Demouy about it in hour number 2. We still have What If Wednesday coming up in 30 minutes, but a lot of LSU baseball talk as LSU played a great baseball game today. They really did. You know, it's never going to be perfect, but you look at this in totality. You win the game 10-3. You got 2 nice pitching outings. The lineup produced basically 1-9. Nothing super sloppy defensively. And you move on. And I'll say this. How you play in the SEC tournament is just simply not an indication of what's to come the next week in the NCAA tournament. It's just not. There's way too much evidence to suggest sometimes you play really well in Hoover and don't play great the next week. Sometimes you play great in Hoover and don't play very well the next week. It famously, we're talking about Ole Miss and Mississippi State, who have been wiped off the floor in Hoover the last 2 weeks and gone on to win national championships. We've seen LSU teams make a run through Hoover like the 2010 team that went out to Southern California and got beat. But I would rather play well this week than not. And LSU's off to a very good start, and they'll hand the ball to Paul Skeens tomorrow. So going through the high points and really what we saw today, the first thing you got to talk about is Thatcher Hurd, clearly. He got the start. We figured that would be the case. I thought Thatcher Hurd or Blake Money would be the two guys. And if you heard Jay Johnson on the telecast, and I know that a lot of you did because I was getting text messages the entire game, so I don't know if the productivity level in Louisiana's offices right now is off the charts. Maybe it's starting to pick up over the last 15 minutes since LSU stopped, but I was getting a lot of texts from people that were working, that were watching this baseball game. So if you heard Jay Johnson during the game, he said, look, we're going to leave him out there while he's getting out, so we're going to try to win this game. And Thatcher Hurd delivered. He worked into the 6th inning. He threw 5 1/3 innings, 100 pitches, and really, if you watch the game, was very sharp. He was 12 up, 12 down. He hung a breaking ball, and Petrie hit it out. Wall scraper, but in Hoover, wall scrapers are still impressive at times. Ball's not carrying like it has the last couple of years in Hoover. I told you yesterday that that's still a pretty, it can be an offensive park at times. It's not what it used to be where it was impossible to hit it out, but it looks that way through a day and a half where it's tough to get it out of there, and Petrie did. But Hurd battled and battled and battled. He was throwing a lot of strikes, and in the end, you do see 2 walks, which he issued in the 6th inning. But the last one was to Petrie with the bases loaded, with 2 on, and he was really one pitch from ending on a high note. Hurd was. He was battling Petrie. He was throwing 94, 95 miles an hour. His stuff still looked pretty good at 100 pitches. And then at the end, he spiked a fastball and then just missed outside with one. And that was the end of his day with the walk to Petrie. But Hurd was very good if you watch this game. And LSU is not asking Thatcher Hurd at this point to give them 7 shutout innings. They're asking him to get outs. And he did that today. He threw strikes. He threw some good breaking balls. He was efficient with his pitches, and he did a great job today. And really, as you look back over his last month, aside from one outing, it's been pretty good. And I know it's not awesome at Georgia when you go out there and you got a 2-run lead tonight and you give up 2 home runs. I'm not trying to sweep that under the rug. That's not good. but he did bow his neck the last 3 innings and get the job done. And I've got to think, because he's done for this tournament, 100 pitches, he won't pitch again. He's got to feel pretty good about himself going into next week. I would think. Today and tomorrow, I'm not going to get into who would pitch on Friday for regional. I don't think it's a worthwhile discussion to have until I've got the matchup in front of me. I need to know who the 4 seed is, and I need to know what kind of pitching they've got. Until I have that, you're just spitballing at that point. So I'm not going to get into that discussion with Hurd, but in terms of confidence and his confidence in himself and Jay's confidence for him to get outs, I think both of those are headed in a really healthy direction heading into next week. That is a big, big deal. Sam Dutton came in, issued a walk on 5 pitches. That wasn't good. And they handed the ball to Nate Ackenhausen. And Nate Ackenhausen wiggled out of the 6th inning with the benefit of a pitch that did not look like a strike when you watched it live. If you go back, Travinsky's got to reach back over his shoulder to catch a breaking ball, which doesn't look the way that you generally see a breaking ball get caught. It was close to being a strike. Am I 100% sure it was a strike? No. Am I 100% sure it was a ball? No. It was close. It was just awkwardly caught in the up run casts us up. And he was ticked about it, but it is what it is. And Ackenhausen wiggled out of that and then settled in and did a really good job. He goes 3 2/3 innings, just allowed the 1 hit, had 6 strikeouts. Breaking ball was good. Fastball command was pretty good. He issued 3 walks. Fastball command was pretty good. And he went 67 pitches. And I was just up there chatting with Matt before I came down to do my show, and Matt was kind of saying, I wonder why they're burning Hurd and Ackenhausen today. And my immediate answer to that has really nothing to do with what you can do the rest of the SEC tournament. It has everything to do with what they're playing for right now. And what they're playing for right now is to set themselves up for the postseason. And in my opinion, this is purely my opinion. It's based on no inside source, no inside information, no knowledge from the program. This is my opinion. But I've watched this team now play a lot of baseball since February. And I think his temporary roadmap through next weekend involves some guys eating some innings when they prove they've got something. So as opposed to pigeonholing Nate Ackenhausen as the setup guy, or Thatcher Hurd or Gavin Guidry as the closer, or Riley Cooper as game 1 or game 3 or game 4 starter, as opposed to pigeonholing guys, they're going to go to the guy they think gives them the best matchup. And what do we know about this staff? We know about this staff that they're inconsistent. Some days they got it, some days they don't. Some days Thatcher Hurd's dialed in, sometimes he can't throw a strike. Sometimes Riley Cooper is getting a bunch of outs, sometimes they're knocking him all over the yard. It's a staff that's just inconsistent. So if you find a guy that's got his best stuff that day, go. Why would I save him for tomorrow when I don't know what he's going to have tomorrow? There have been relief pitchers, 09 Matty Ott, 2013 Chris Cotton, 2017 Zach Hess. I know what I'm getting from them the next day, and I want to have them ready for that. I don't know what Thatcher Hurd's giving me tomorrow. I don't know what Gavin Guidry's giving me tomorrow. I don't know what Javen Coleman's giving me tomorrow. Some days they have it, some days they don't. If I find a day where they have it, they're going. Go. Thatcher Hurd, 100 pitches. You're ready to go. Nate Ackenhausen looked fine today at 67 pitches. He doesn't have to be a 3-out guy. If you find a day where Nate Ackenhausen has his good stuff like he did today with 6 strikeouts and 3 2/3, go. I'll find the guy that I got to find tomorrow. Sam Dutton didn't have it today. Threw 5 pitches. See ya. Well, found the guy. Stretch him. They've stretched almost all these guys out over the last 3 to 4 weeks. They've stretched Javen Coleman as much as they can. They've stretched Thatcher Hurd as much as they can. They've stretched Nate Ackenhausen. They know Riley Cooper can give him 70 pitches if he's got it going that day. Gavin Guidry has been called upon to go a little bit deeper than just the 1 inning that he went the first time he came in a huge spot against South Carolina in Columbia. That's what I think Jay's thinking. He's not thinking, well, can't use Ackenhausen on Saturday if we're playing Florida. I don't even know who's in the bracket for Saturday. It doesn't matter. But what he does know is, okay, if on Friday of next week we've got a 6-run lead and I'm trying to get to Saturday to give it to Skeens and set myself up with as many available arms as I can have, we'll burn Ackenhausen. He can come back Monday if he needs to. Again, that's just my opinion. It makes sense to me. And the way that he's implemented these guys and deployed these guys, it makes sense. So today the pitching was very, very good. And one of the things I saw was Thatcher Hurd and Nate Ackenhausen showing some emotion today. And of course, you're not going to be a super emotional, upbeat, fired up guy when you've given up 4 runs in an inning and a third. You need your good outing to create that. But I'm going to guess again. This is a guess. Total guess. But work with me here. They finished playing baseball Saturday afternoon in Athens. They didn't play again until Wednesday morning. They had Saturday evening, all day Sunday, all day Monday, all day Tuesday. That's 4 days. Don't you think at some point either Jay Johnson or Wes Johnson or Paul Skeens or Riley Cooper, who's been around now a good bit, don't you think at some point over the 4 days where they didn't have a game to get ready for, somebody said, guys, looked to the pitching staff and said, look, we got All-Americans in the lineup. They're the number one offense in almost every category in the league in offense. We have the number 1 or 2 pick in the draft at the front of our rotation. And Ty's starting to get it rolling. The rest of us have got to do this. The rest of us have got to decide right now that it is time for this pitching staff to get it into gear and do what's necessary to get this team to Omaha. We're the missing link. You don't have to look around. You don't have to question. You don't have to ask. We're it. It's time to make this thing happen. Maybe they didn't do that. Maybe they just went out to the bars in Athens and then hung out in the hotel and played cards in Hoover. I don't know. But, man, wouldn't it seem like that would be the time? You put the regular season in the rearview mirror. You've got 4 days where you're on the road. Everybody's together the whole time. Hey, let's do this. And today, Thatcher Hurd and Nate Ackenhausen took the baseball, and they did it. And South Carolina's been struggling on offense for 3 weeks. But it's still an SEC lineup. Petrie's a star. Cass is a star. And they did a great job today. And they should feel confident and comfortable moving into postseason play. That's what I would think. Really, really strong performance by LSU today in the SEC opener. They'll again play tomorrow at 4:30 against the winner of this next game between Texas A&M and Arkansas. So that's the pitching side of things. Let's get to the hitting side. We'll do that next on the Hunt Palmer Show.
Hunt Palmer on 104.5 ESPN Baton Rouge.
I was over at LWCC yesterday. Just such an awesome organization, awesome group of people. They put together a great event yesterday with a wonderful Harvard business speaker who was talking to a bunch of business owners and employees in Louisiana, because LWCC is always trying to elevate and celebrate Louisiana. That's why they got their Champions of Louisiana program, and that's why they allow us to celebrate companies like Acadian Companies, who's our champion of Louisiana. You know Acadian because of the ambulances that you see and you hear them on our airwaves, but did you know that they have an initiative called Hometown Heroes? They partner with local high schools to train and prepare students for a career as a licensed EMT. That, one, provides a young person in our state with a career path, and 2, it makes a difference in people's lives. They're literally saving lives. That's Acadian's mission, is to be the most shining star in Louisiana. And they are. They're champion of Louisiana. LWCC lets us celebrate them. Acadian Ambulance, Acadian Companies, champion of Louisiana, presented by LWCC.
Our listeners fire off their opinions on the jimsfirearms.net hotline at 499-1045. Keep listening for your next chance to shoot us your thoughts with the jimsfirearms.net hotline on 104.5 ESPN Baton Rouge.
Bayou Chrysler Dodge Jeep Ram has $20,000 off new 22 Ram 1500 SCA trucks and incredible deals on all remaining 2022 inventory, all with Bayou's 1 million mile warranty. The crew at Bayou Automotive is going to do right by you.
Samantha, dear, I hope you're feeling fine. And it won't be long until I'm with you all the time. But until then, I spend my money up right down on my last dime. Come on, in Baton Rouge. Ah, the rain what you put me on through. Gotta send my love down to
Hey, what's up, y'all? It's that time again. It's heating up. Your boat's getting ready to come out and spend all summer on the water. It's time to take your boat to the next level with front-to-back boat service, where if you want an incredible custom speaker install, it's going to blow people away in the water, that's there for you. You want an HD sonar where you can see the fish under the water before you cast, beat all your friends, that's there for you at front-to-back boat service. So don't put it off. We got the parts in right now. Get them now before they go back on back order. Front-to-back boat service.
Gulf Coast Office Products is a nationally recognized Savin office equipment dealer based right here in Louisiana. Over 100 employees strong, Gulf Coast has the boots on the ground to support all vertical markets, from education, engineering, legal, and finance. With the latest in office technology, from desktop to production segment units, Gulf Coast and Savin have the perfect fit for you. Call 225-756-2644. That's 756-2644 for Gulf Coast Office Products.
When is a taco more than just a taco? When it's Government Taco. Voted best tacos 3 years in a row by 225 Magazine, Government Taco puts the most delicious spin on tacos the capital area has ever seen. With creative combinations like the Magna Carrot, the Filibuster, or the Steak of the Union. Plus perfect tortilla chips paired with the best salsa and queso you've ever had. And happy hour every day from 3 to 6 p.m. and all day on Thursday. Government Taco, 5621 Government Street.
There it is, the extra mile, on the border of expected and extraordinary, for those willing to go further, like vans customized for work or play, with safety and tech to keep you connected, supported by a 5-star sales, service, and finance team, and backed by the 1-star you know. So go the extra mile. It's never crowded, because so...
Join me, Jimmy Ott, for the Wednesday edition of Game Time. Go see my boy Miguel at Modesto. Modesto on Burbank, right by Walk-Ons. It's the Wednesday edition of Game Time, 6 to 8 p.m. from Modesto on 104.5 ESPN Baton Rouge.
This is Hunt Palmer on 104.5 ESPN Baton Rouge.
Tigers winning in Hoover by the score of 10-3. We'll talk about it with Chris Demui, host of the 60 Feet 6-Inch LSU Baseball podcast, coming up at 2:30. It's a What If Wednesday today. That's in 15 minutes. If you've got a what if, just put it in the Bayou Ford chat over on YouTube, or you can tweet at me as well. Just ask for some what ifs here for What If Wednesday. I want to talk offense and what we saw from LSU today. Incredibly balanced attack from the Tigers. 2 hits from Cruz, 2 hits from Pearson, 2 hits from White, a hit from Morgan, a hit from Travinsky, hit from Beloso. Thompson didn't get a hit, but he got on base twice with a walk and a hit by pitch. He scored a run. And then Gavin Dugas had a hit and scored a pair of runs as well. So the only guy that did not get a hit in the starting lineup for LSU was Jordan Thompson, and he was on base twice and scored a run. So LSU 1-9, excellent in today's game. Couple things I want to talk about. The first time through the order, I thought LSU did a great job against the South Carolina starter. I know for a fact that they are impeccably prepared for starting pitchers. They pour over film. They've got an in-depth scouting report. They've all got a key what they're looking for from the pitcher, whether it's make sure you see him down because he's got a riding fastball. It's whether make sure you see it up because he's got a big sinker. Make sure when 2 strikes, you know his go-to pitch is a slider to the glove side. Like, they've got a lot of information, and I thought they looked really, really prepared today. In the first time through the order, Cruz hit a missile to the warning track at 4:05. Then Pearson struck out, but White singled to right field. Morgan flew to the track in left field the opposite way, which I thought was a good at-bat. After Travinsky struck out, Beloso hit a line drive to center field that was hit really hard. Jordan Thompson drew a walk. Jobert pumped it right under the scoreboard in right field for a 2-run homer. So 6 of your first 9 at-bats were very, very quality at-bats, I thought, for LSU, and that continued throughout the entire game. Jobert's home run, incidentally, was his 10th of the year, and that is the 7th LSU player with 10 home runs on the season. White has 10, Cruz has 10, Beloso has 10, Thompson has 10, Jones has 10, Jobert has 10, and I'm missing one there. Dugas has 10. That's 7 guys that have 10 home runs on the season. That is the most LSU players with 10 home runs in a single season since 1998. You'll recall that team was pretty salty offensively. They hit 157 home runs that year. That team had 8 guys with double-digit homers. I'll run through them just as a blast from the past. Eddie Furness had 28 home runs on that team. Brad Cressy had 29 home runs on that team. Trey McClure had 27 home runs for that team. Danny Higgins with 15. Cedric Harris with 10. Clint Earnhardt with 12. Wes Davis with 10. And Jeff Lamont had 10 as well. So there were 8 guys that had 10 on that team. Hayden Travinski could get there. Trey Morgan could get there if LSU plays a little bit longer and those guys get into a couple of baseballs. So this is a team that has been really consistent 1 through 9 really all year. And even in cases where guys have gotten into some slumps, other guys have picked them up. I talked about this on Monday. Like when Cruz was scuffling a little bit for that 2-week run, Tommy White was the hottest hitter in the country. Gavin Dugas got off to a rip-roaring start this year. Jared Jones was blistering in the non-conference and early conference play. He goes cold. Hayden Travinski picks up the slack. He's been awesome offensively. So it's just been a team that has continued to hit and hit and hit. And we talked about Dylan Cruz and, you know, whether or not he's slumping or trending down or whatever. I think we can put a little bit of that to bed. He hit a long home run to left field into the wind against Georgia and Athens. And then today he had 2 more hits in the ball game. And that was just the 2 hits he got. He drew a walk and hit a 403-foot line drive to the center field wall in his first at bat. So I think he's seeing it well. I think he's going to be just fine. It wouldn't surprise me if he's the MVP of the regional next week. I think he is in a really good spot. I don't mind him at all in the leadoff spot with Dugas at the back end of the lineup, who, you know, he's got to get on base a little bit more, but okay, they're going to get Cruz more at bats. And they've kind of nestled Pearson in there in that 2-hole. And he drove in 3 runs over the weekend, had, of course, a huge 2-run homer on Thursday, but added to that in the next couple of games. And now he's sitting there behind Dylan Cruz and in front of Tommy White. And in the game today, he got a couple of really nice hits, drove in a run, walked once. He did strike out a couple times, but, you know, look, that's exactly what you're looking for. 2 for 4 with 2 runs scored right in there between the 2 best hitters in the lineup. I like where they've got Pearson in there. I don't mind the lineup makeup today. It's obvious that Jay does like the idea of going left, right, left. And you saw that in the lineup today. Cruz led off right-handed, Pearson the 2-hole left-handed, White in the 3-hole right-handed, Morgan behind him at left-handed, Travinski right-handed behind Morgan. Then you got Beloso from the left side, Thompson right side, Jobert left side, Dugas right side. So other than 9-1, you were alternating every single spot in the lineup, which Jay prioritizes, and I think that's just fine. It makes things a little bit more difficult once you start making pitching changes in college baseball. So LSU in the game had 12 hits, scored 10 runs, and I thought just grinded all day long and made things really, really tough on South Carolina pitching. That's a South Carolina pitching staff that's a little depleted, a little down on their luck, but not dissimilar talent-wise to what you're going to see next week. And so that's, I think, a very good effort from LSU. They could have potentially busted the thing open a little bit more in the 7th inning. They had the bases loaded. They were threatening to run rule with Travinski at the plate, and Travinski tapped one back to the mound. They threw home to get the runner at home and then threw to first to get the double play. It hit Travinski in the lower back, bounced away, and that was going to score a run and leave the door open again for LSU to continue offensively and maybe get a run rule, but they ruled runner interference on Travinski. Here's my thing with the runner interference call on Travinski, and it's always been my thing. I just think it's a bad rule. I thought the rule was applied properly in this situation. Travinski's left foot was in fair territory. It was inside the baseline, and then the ball hit him. So it was a properly called rule. That's why they went to the replay, and they came back and said the ruling is confirmed. But just let's think rationally for a second. Let's be reasonable, common sense people and understand that the lane for the runner is 100% in foul territory, unless you include the actual baseline. But the box is in foul territory. The entire base is in fair territory. So basically the rule of baseball, a sport I love dearly, the greatest game ever invented, is that you need to run in foul territory the entire way to first base and then jump into fair territory to touch the base. There's no common sense there. They need to take the baseline and move it all the way in to fair territory. Just flip it. I realize we've been doing this for over 100 years, but can we just make sense of it? The runner can run in or move the base into foul territory, but they've got to be in line. You've got to let the base runner stay in the baseline and have the base in the baseline. It was a bad throw by the backup catcher. It hit Travinsky in the lower right part of his back, which was in foul territory, but because of where his foot landed, he's called out. It was the proper call. It just doesn't make much sense. And hopefully it doesn't happen in a bigger spot for LSU. It can happen in Hoover. And that's kind of where I'll let this game rest for a second before we get to What If Wednesday. LSU now, with a win in this game and what's gone on the last couple of days, Kentucky losing, and you look up, and we all know now that LSU will be a top 8 national seed. There is no debate behind that now. You could try to come up with something as of yesterday. Now, just put it away. And so now you've just got stress-free baseball the whole time you're there. I'm sure people get cranky. They're probably going to lose a game. I mean, they may not, but they're probably going to lose between now and Sunday. But it's stress-free. You just want to see a couple guys swing the bat well. You love to see Pearson continue to swing it well. Dillon continue to swing it well. You've kind of seen two of the guys you really needed to step up. Now Floyd's going to get his opportunity on Friday, which is a good thing. You'll be able to accomplish everything you wanted to accomplish, which I think was get Hurd out there, get Skeens out there for some reps, get Floyd out there for some reps, and then, that the rest is gravy, and now you're going to be able to accomplish that. And it's just stress-free baseball. Next week is so much fun, but it's also awful because it's so nerve-wracking. It's so high stress. It's so high leverage. It means so much because all this stuff we've been talking about for 3.5 months can vanish in 24 hours. That's not the case in Hoover. That's why it's fun. Because now you just go out there. You want to win the game. If you don't, as a fan, you're like, it's all right. Next week's what matters. Who got a couple hits today? Who out of the bullpen was throwing some strikes today? Man, did you see that defensive play today? And if you win, that's great too. But it's just a stress-free deal the rest of the week. Now that you've got that in, you didn't go 0-2, you can just now settle in. And we'll talk about the matchup tomorrow. I'll talk about both the teams that are playing now as they are underway between Arkansas and Texas A&M from Hoover. They just recorded the first out of the game. Arkansas is the home team in that matchup. I'll talk about both these teams and kind of what LSU may be looking at if you get to tomorrow. But LSU now, stress-free baseball. You've got everything you need in your back pocket. The only reason you play the first 56 in this tournament is to give yourself a top 8. That's the only reason to show up. I was listening to Hanny's show, and Scott's disappointed about not winning the Southeastern Conference, and that would be a great achievement for this team to win the SEC. I'm not going to diminish that at all. Just personally for me, give me the top 8. Now, top 8 comes when winning the conference, so there's something to be said for that. But they've done everything from February the 13th or whatever, that 16th, 17th, whatever it was, to today. You've accomplished everything you need to accomplish. Now it's about how well you play moving forward next week. Have some fun in Hoover this week. They'll do so at 4:30 tomorrow from the Hoover Met, barring any rain, which it appears it's not supposed to show up, but I guess you never really know. All right, let's take a time out. When we come back, it is What If Wednesday. It's the Hunt Palmer Show.
This is Hunt Palmer. In times of need, get a full list of phone numbers, websites, and other important emergency information on the Demco Stormwatch page at 1045ESPN.com.
There it is, the extra mile, on the border of expected and extraordinary, for those willing to go further, like vans customized for work or play, with safety and tech to keep you connected, supported by a 5-star sales, service, and finance team, and backed by the 1-star you know. So go the extra mile. It's never crowded, because so few have what it takes to go there. Mercedes-Benz Vans.
Gulf Coast Office Products is a nationally recognized Savin office equipment dealer based right here in Louisiana. Over 100 employees strong, Gulf Coast has the boots on the ground to support all vertical markets, from education, engineering, legal, and finance. With the latest in office technology, from desktop to production segment units, Gulf Coast and Savin have the perfect fit for you. Call 225-756-2644. That's 756-2644 for Gulf Coast Office Products.
When is a taco more than just a taco? When it's Government Taco. Voted best tacos 3 years in a row by 225 Magazine, Government Taco puts the most delicious spin on tacos the capital area has ever seen. With creative combinations like the Magna Carrot, the Filibuster, or the Steak of the Union. Plus perfect tortilla chips paired with the best salsa and queso you've ever had. And happy hour every day from 3 to 6 p.m. and all day on Thursday. Government Taco, 5621 Government Street.
The importance of doing this fortified program and offering it to people down here is, number one, the only real chance you're going to get to do this is when you put on a new roof or build new. And through companies like HUDCO, who's kind of leading the way in this thing, it's going to offer the customers a huge advantage in the insurance market and the price of their insurance.
You know, we're not looking to make a fortune off fortifying. We're trying to give you a better product than our competitor at the moment. I'm trying to do something that he can. I'm trying to give you something better. So a lot of these insurance jobs, you're getting a re-roof, you're only paying your deductible. Let's sit down and talk about the fortified and let's see what it does to your insurance premium. You're getting a steal.
Yeah.
You're getting a brand new roof and a fortified certificate for your deductible, essentially. And I think we're rocking and rolling.
Hey, what's up, y'all? It's that time again. It's heating up. Your boat's getting ready to come out and spend all summer on the water. It's time to take your boat to the next level with front-to-back boat service, where if you want an incredible custom speaker install, it's going to blow people away in the water, that's there for you. You want an HD sonar where you can see the fish under the water before you cast, beat all your friends, that's there for you at front-to-back boat service. So don't put it off. We got the parts in right now. Get them now before they go back on back order. Front-to-back boat service.
Charles Shanagriff joined me and Jimmy out for our new show, Live at Lunch, starting 11 a.m. on Memorial Day.
Can't shake this guy. Live at lunch, 11 to 1.
You're listening to Hunt Palmer on 104.5 ESPN Baton Rouge.
And chat with Krista Mui coming up an hour from right now at 2:30. A lot of baseball today, but it is Wednesday. It is 1:30. That means it's time for What If Wednesday.
Time, space, reality. It's more than a linear path. Where a single choice can branch out into infinite realities. Follow me and ponder the question, what if?
All right, starting off here. What if the SEC tournament moved to Arlington or Houston?
Logistically, it would be much better. I mean, let's just be honest. We sit here in Hoover every single May and we watch it rain. and stuff gets backed up and games get delayed and pitchers get compromised and we play till 2 o'clock in the morning and there's fog delays and it's part of the weekend. And that would be taken off the table if you went and played inside at Minute Maid or at Globe Life. The nostalgia piece in me that's where you go Memorial Day week. You go to the Hoover Met, and that's just what happens. And LSU brings a ton of people there, and it's centrally located, and it works, and it's part of. I mean, it's been this way forever for me. I don't know anything different. And the other part of it is that RV lot that they've got at Hoover Met and the facility that they've built so teams can warm up right there is really, really nice. Now, they could accommodate things like that, I'm sure, in Arlington, which has nothing but concrete and stadiums. So, look, if they do it, am I going to throw a hissy fit? No. Would it make me a little sentimental if they change that? Yeah. Plus, I was looking at the Big 12 tournament today, which is at Globe Life, and there's no one there. Like, it's just this cavernous, massive place, and there's no one there. I looked at the Hoover Met today, and it's 65, 70% full. Now, LSU helps that, and certainly if Alabama and Auburn are there, that helps, and Ole Miss and Alabama, that helps. And but it just playing in those cavernous stadiums with very few people, which sometimes you get a Missouri Vanderbilt game or a Florida Georgia game, like you're not going to have a lot of people there. So I'm torn on it. I don't have a strong stance. I just know that if they moved it inside, they get the games in on time. So yeah. That's kind of what I'm thinking.
What if someone asked to use your glove?
So this spurs from today. If you were watching the game, Thatcher Hurd was using Paul Skeens' glove. Now, I cannot relate to elite level baseball players on many levels, but I did wear a glove in high school. So like I'm capable of speaking to that. Can't really talk about hitting 98 mile an hour fastballs, hitting 20 home runs, throwing 98 mile an hour fastballs. I can't relate to the actual playing of the game very much. Wearing a glove I can, and I used to despise when someone put my glove on. Because then I would put it on and it felt like loose or not right because it's supposed to like kind of be molded to your hand. I was really particular about that. And now Paul Skeens doesn't have to use his glove very much because he strikes everybody out. So maybe he doesn't care what his glove feels like. But if I was like Jordan Thompson, there's no way in the world I'm letting anybody use my glove. Like, can't we? That is my thought on the matter. But clearly Paul Skeens didn't care. Clearly he's a great teammate. And hey, Thatcher Hurd threw the ball great today. So it all worked out. But there's no shot that I'm letting somebody use my glove.
There were some people referencing Like Mike, the movie. When the
yeah.
Gets the shoes. And
yeah, they got to put the shoes on. Yeah,
there you go.
I got you. Look, he wasn't quite that good, but he was good.
Yeah. All right, moving on here. What if Michael Block missed the cut this week at Colonial?
So, I think that's probably likely, honestly. I mean, he's not a PGA Tour player, and this is a totally different ball game because last week you're able to try to hit it in the fairway, try to hit it on the green, and make a par. I mean, that's what the PGA asks you to do. That's why the winning score is fairly close to par, relatively speaking. In these PGA Tour events, somebody shoots 62 or 63 every week. The cut is 3 or 4 under par, not 6 over par. So I'm not suggesting Michael Block can't go out there and make a bunch of birdies. I'm just saying it's a different style of golf. He's playing on a much easier golf course. So I think it's likely he misses the cut this weekend, but it'll still be a cool story. He's getting a bunch of pub. He's doing a bunch of interviews. Somebody apparently offered him like $50,000 for his 7-iron that he made a hole-in-one on. Like, there's a lot going on for him, and it's really cool. I just feel like he's coming down off this huge high. Like, going from Oak Hill in the PGA to Colonial is quite a nosedive for somebody in that spot. So it won't diminish what he did last week, but I think it's pretty likely.
I did hear him say that this Colonial is a little bit shorter course compared to most tour courses. So he said that should help him because that was his biggest problem with Oak Hill.
He hits like 270.
Carries at like 270.
Yeah.
So yeah, that's like, he could still make the cut. I think he will actually. But
all right, that'd be great.
Right. Yeah, moving on here to the next one. What if we hired Jimbo the night Oliva almost fired Les Miles?
Obviously, that was close to happening, we think. I I think if Jimbo gets the job here, he would do a good job. He has proven, even in some instances where some seasons haven't gone awesome, he does recruit well. He gets good players. And I think if he came to Baton Rouge and he put a staff around him, he would recruit really, really well. And then the question is, what would the quarterback play and what would the offense look like? And I think that story will probably be written this year because he's going to have either a very experienced player, with some talent and Max Johnson starting, or a non-freshman, a guy who's been under the gun with a lot of talent in Connor Wigman, and they should score points this year. And if they don't, it's just more evidence that the game has passed it. And I'm not going to rule that out. But I think it's likely if Jimbo gets the job in Baton Rouge that year, that he would have won a lot of games here. Now, he wouldn't have got Joe Burrow, and we wouldn't have had the 2019 team, and that butterfly effect would have swallowed the 2019 team whole. But I think he would have won a lot of games here because I think a lot of good football coaches can win a lot of games here, and I do think Jimbo is a good football coach. You may not like the way he talks in interviews. You may not like the fact that he's at A&M and the fact that he did the cups and all that kind of stuff, and nobody makes more fun of A&M or shows their disapproval of Texas A&M more than me on these airwaves. However, I'm not going to sit here and tell you that Jimbo Fisher's a terrible football coach and he would have been fired in 2 years at LSU. Like, that's not realistic. It would have compromised the 2019 team, which I guess is the most important piece to this discussion.
Yeah. Last one. What if LSU beats either Arkansas or Texas A&M in the winner's bracket tomorrow? Could that lock up the number 2 national seed?
I think LSU's in the mix for the number 2 national seed. Clearly, Wake Forest has number 1 on ice. Wake Forest is going to be your number 1 seed. They have not lost a weekend all season long. Their RPI is 1. They are 17-5 against Quad 1. That is leaps and bounds better than everyone else. So they're going to be the number 1 seed. You're in a race to the number 2 seed with Arkansas and Florida, who beat you in league play in terms of standings. You obviously hold the 2 of 3 series win over Arkansas, and you didn't play Florida. So I think you could move in that direction. I think Arkansas's metrics are very comparable to yours. If you were 4-2, could that tip the scale in your favor? Maybe. Florida's metrics are pretty comparable as well. So as I look at it, I don't want to dive into a bunch of numbers here because that's not what people want to hear about on the radio, but you could get the number 2 seed if you were to win tomorrow and maybe win another one and get to Saturday or Sunday of the tournament in good shape. I don't know. In my opinion, that is fairly meaningless. I guess if you wanted to reach, you could suggest that getting the number 2 national seed would mean you wouldn't play Wake Forest until the national final. The odds are Wake Forest is probably not getting to the national final. There is no one in the sport who is probably getting to the national final. The national final is where Coastal Carolina and Fresno State show up. After 64 teams go play baseball, who knows what's going to happen. Therefore, I don't put a lot of stock into what seeds you are. Just give me 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, or 8. And at this point, LSU has locked themselves into that position. So do I want to win the game tomorrow? I do. Do I want Paul Skeens to throw really well tomorrow? I do. If it doesn't happen, am I going to lose any sleep over it? Not a single wink. That'll be it for that. So appreciate you all for jumping on and giving us some what ifs over on Twitter and in the Bayou Ford chat. Let's see if anybody else chimed in there as I was doing it. Cola Coke says, what if Thatcher Hurd we saw today is what we see moving forward? How does that change the rotation moving forward and the outlook for this team after Hoover? That is a very fair question, Cole, and a good one. And certainly it helps. I'm just not ready to tell you whether or not I think he should start next Friday. I will tell you with certainty that Paul Skeens should not start next Friday. But I can't tell you whether or not I favor Thatcher Hurd, whether I favor Blake Money, whether I favor Ty Floyd next Friday. I need to see the matchup. I need to see who they're playing. That matters. It's not like football or baseball where you just roll it out there and you got to go beat the guys. There is some significant strategy that goes into how you want to navigate a weekend in a regional, and it matters who you play. And so, well, if they were playing the Tampa Bay Rays or the last team in the field on next Saturday, meaning a 3 seed, that I would still throw Paul Skeens. But games 1 and games 3 are games that you need to think about. And so I certainly wouldn't rule Thatcher Hurd out of starting next Friday, and I certainly wouldn't rule him out of starting Game 3 of a Super if he hadn't been used, and I wouldn't rule him out of starting a game in Omaha. I just need to see a little bit more of what the opponent is and what things look like before I jump into that. So I apologize, Cole, for not answering your really good question, but I just don't have the information to answer the question. I'll tell you this. Thatcher Hurd, throwing the ball great, improves LSU's odds to winning national championships significantly. How's that? If he's really good, LSU's chances to win the national championship are significantly better. That's about as far as I can go. Great question there by Cole and everybody who chimed in on What If Wednesday. Going to chat with Doug Thompson in 15 minutes. He was on the play-by-play call. Doug's headed to the golf course, but we're going to get him in 15 minutes. We'll have Chris Demouy from the 60 Feet 6 Inch LSU Baseball Podcast coming up with us at 2:30. Don't go anywhere. Hunt Palmer Show.
This is Hunt Palmer. Our listeners fire off their opinions on the JimsFirearms.net hotline at 499-1045. Keep listening for your next chance to shoot us your thoughts with the JimsFirearms.net hotline on 1045 ESPN Baton Rouge.
Turn my music high, 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 yeah. You don't know what you're doing. Sure I do. I'm from the streets where the hood can swallow on me. Bullets will follow on me. There's so much that you could run the slalom. The cops comb this top to bottom. They say that we are prone to violence, but it's home sweet home. With personalities clashing, chrome meets chrome. Prices up and down like this Wall Street.
All right, let's say ah.
Where'd my spotlight go?
Super weird, but we can take care of it.
Get in and get better at Patient Plus.
Gulf Coast Office Products is a nationally recognized Savin office equipment dealer based right here in Louisiana. Over 100 employees strong, Gulf Coast has the boots on the ground to support all vertical markets from education, engineering, legal, and finance. With the latest in office technology from desktop to production segment units, Gulf Coast and Savin have the perfect fit for you. Call 225-756-2644. That's 756-2644 for Gulf Coast Office Products.
When is a taco more than just a taco? When it's Government Taco. Voted best tacos 3 years in a row by 225 Magazine, Government Taco puts the most delicious spin on tacos the capital area has ever seen. With creative combinations like the Magna Carrot, the Filibuster, or the Steak of the Union. Plus perfect tortilla chips paired with the best salsa and queso you've ever had. And happy hour every day from 3 to 6 p.m. and all day on Thursday. Government Taco, 5621 Government Street.
There it is, the extra mile, on the border of expected and extraordinary, for those willing to go further, like vans customized for work or play, with safety and tech to keep you connected, supported by a 5-star sales, service, and finance team, and backed by the 1-star you know. So go the extra mile. It's never crowded, because so few have what it takes to go there. Mercedes-Benz Vans.
I've been doing business with Luba for 25 years. They're dependable, trustworthy. It's just the attention to detail with our clients.
Our folks have years and years of experience. They're highly trained professionals. But many companies have that asset. What I'd like to think makes Luba a bit different is that we use those talents in a way that truly is dedicated to serving the needs of the folks who depend on us.
Hey there, little buddy. What's the matter?
What's the matter? My windows, siding, and my door. That's what's the matter.
Relief Windows can fix all of that. I got you. Pop, pop. What's up?
Oh my gosh, look!
Curb appeal. That's a good-looking neighborhood. ReliefWindows.com.
Gulf Coast Bank and Trust is giving our customers the power to bank anywhere, anytime during
Up on Thursdays off the bench. We'll recap day 2 at Hoover, the SEC tournament, how did LSU fare against South Carolina. Plus, we'll check in with Coach Jay Johnson. Also, the latest from Saints OTAs off the bench, 7 to 10 a.m., 104.5 ESPN.
This is Hunt Palmer on 104.5 ESPN Baton Rouge.
Bold of T-Bob to say they were going to check in with LSU head coach Jay Johnson tomorrow, because if LSU would have lost the game today, then they would have been playing at 9:30 again. I don't know that Jay wouldn't answer the phone at 7:15 for a 9:30 game. Maybe he would have. Kind of doubt it. But now that LSU plays at 4:30 tomorrow, I think there's a chance they can get Coach Johnson on. So listen for that tomorrow morning on Off the Bench. LSU wins their ball game today by the final score of 10-3. Great outings by Thatcher Hurd and Nate Ackenhausen. Complete offensive performance. Tigers were really, really good today, and they'll move on to play the winner of Arkansas and Texas A&M. That game is scoreless in the second inning. I will get you caught up on those two teams and where they sit pitching-wise in about 20 minutes. But I wanted to catch you up or get you ready for what else is to come today in the SEC baseball tournament. Florida and Alabama are going to play at 4:30. Hurston Waldrop's going to get the ball for Florida. We'll see what Bama decides to do in that game. Bama is playing for a host site, and I think they're in pretty good shape. Am I ready to, set up the TV towers in Tuscaloosa? I am not. So I think they could really do themselves some good by winning the game. I think they would do very well winning the game today against Florida, who's a top 5 RPI team. That would move that RPI up even more. So good opportunity for Alabama. Florida not playing for a heck of a lot at this point, unless, as we talked about in the last segment, if you care about the number 2 overall national seed, Florida may be playing for that. The nightcap tonight is Vanderbilt and Auburn. Auburn is sizzling hot. They have played awesome baseball. They won 12 of their last 15 league games. They won another one last night over Missouri. They ended their season, so Missouri is done for the year. Vanderbilt's been kind of petering out towards the end, whether it's the offense not stepping up, which they haven't at times, or whether it's the pitching being hurt, which it is. So I have no idea. I can't find who Vanderbilt is going to throw tonight, but I do know that Auburn did throw Tommy Vale last night. So they'll have to go down the list a little bit and try to find whoever it's going to be. I have no idea what Vanderbilt's going to do pitching-wise. They've got, I think, a lot of options, but none of them are specifically great or healthy. So in that game, Vanderbilt is playing for a top 8, which I think they're going to be in good shape for, and Auburn is playing for a host site, which I think they can play their way into. When we talked to Mark Etheridge yesterday or Monday, and he said, look, the committee is going to look at a lot of different things. They don't just look at RPI. They don't just look at Quadrant 1. They don't just look at top 25. They don't just look at road record or conference standing. They don't just look at how you're playing. But they do look at those things. And when you look at how Auburn is playing, it jumps off the page. I mean, I was bashing Auburn like crazy in March. They couldn't get anybody out. They were giving up 10 runs a game. Their pitching was ravaged with injury and poor performance. And all of a sudden, Butch clicks them into gear, and here they are advancing to the double elimination stage. And they got a chance to get a top 10 RPI win against Vanderbilt and kind of bump that RPI up and have an opportunity to host a regional. And the SEC is not going to host all 16 of them. You want to get as high up in that pecking order as you can, and Auburn's got an opportunity to do that in this one. So, again, right now, A&M and Arkansas playing. It is nothing in the bottom of the second inning between those two teams. I'll get you caught up on the pitching matchup that we're seeing here today and what that leaves them for tomorrow. LSU will play at 4:30 tomorrow. South Carolina, incidentally, played back at 9:30 for the third day in a row, and they'll take on the loser of this game. So that'll do it for hour number 1. If you missed any of it, catch it on demand, 1045ESPN.com's on-demand tab, Apple Podcasts, Spotify, Google, or, of course, on YouTube. We spent the first 30 minutes talking about LSU's win over South Carolina to open their SEC tournament play. Great work by the Tigers. I gave my thoughts on it. It was a what-if Wednesday, so we chatted what if, a bunch of things. If LSU hired Jimbo, what if Thatcher Hurd pitched like this the rest of the way? So if you want any of that, you can catch it all on demand. I wanted to tell y'all one more time, we'll continue to tell y'all, about our YouTube channels. Our LSU channel is really healthy, doing great, and you can catch that. It's called Hunt on LSU. Pretty simple. Search Hunt on LSU on YouTube, and you can find all our LSU football content. No baseball there, no basketball there, just football. We also have a new channel that we're trying to grow here called Hunt on Saints. All of our Saints content right there at Hunt on Saints. You subscribe to it, it'll show up in your feed, and you can get that content. And it's not 2-hour shows. It's 10, 12-minute snippets, sometimes even 4, 5, 6-minute snippets of our show that we cut up, condense. And if you're looking for just LSU football or just Saints, which I know there's a lot of y'all that are miserable this time of year because you're football heads, we got football content. It's there. Hunt on LSU, Hunt on Saints. Go ahead and check that out on our YouTube page. A lot to get to in hour number 2. We're going to chat with a couple of former Tigers and national champs. Doug Thompson will join us after Sports Center here at the top of the hour before he tees it up. And then Chris Demouy in his normal Wednesday spot as well. We'll chat with Demouy at 2:30. Come back after Sports Center. It's the Hunt Palmer Show.
Bayou Ford has $15,000 off, plus 0.9% APR for 60 months on all new 22 Ford F-150 SCA trucks, and incredible deals on all remaining 2022 inventory, all with Bayou's 1 million-mile warranty. The crew at Bayou Ford is going to do right by you.
The world's leaders in obesity research, obesity medicine, and obesity science are right here.
We're doing something that no one's ever done, or trying to answer a question that no one's ever asked before.
Pennington is a real jewel when it comes to research.
We are finding the solutions to the world's worst chronic disease, which is obesity. Louisiana needs Pennington Biomedical.
Hey, what's up, y'all? It's that time again. It's heating up. Your boat's getting ready to come out and spend all summer on the water. It's time to take your boat to the next level with front-to-back boat service, where if you want an incredible custom speaker install, it's going to blow people away in the water, that's there for you. You want an HD sonar where you can see the fish under the water before you cast, beat all your friends, that's there for you at front-to-back boat service. So don't put it off. We got the parts in right now. Get them now before they go back on back order. Front-to-back boat service.
Gulf Coast Office Products is a nationally recognized Savin office equipment dealer based right here in Louisiana. Over 100 employees strong, Gulf Coast has the boots on the ground to support all vertical markets, from education, engineering, legal, and finance. With the latest in office technology, from desktop to production segment units, Gulf Coast and Savin have the perfect fit for you. Call 225-756-2644. That's 756-2644 for Gulf Coast Office Products.
When is a taco more than just a taco? When it's Government Taco. Voted best tacos 3 years in a row by 225 Magazine, Government Taco puts the most delicious spin on tacos the capital area has ever seen. With creative combinations like the Magna Carrot, the Filibuster, or the Steak of the Union. Plus perfect tortilla chips paired with the best salsa and queso you've ever had. And happy hour every day from 3 to 6 p.m. and all day on Thursday. Government Taco, 5621 Government Street.
There it is, the extra mile, on the border of expected and extraordinary, for those willing to go further, like vans customized for work or play, with safety and tech to keep you connected, supported by a 5-star sales, service, and finance team, and backed by the 1-star you know. So go the extra mile. It's never crowded, because so few have what it takes to go there. Mercedes-Benz Vans.
I've been doing business with Luba for 25 years. They're dependable, trustworthy. It's just the attention to detail with our clients.
Our folks have years and years of experience. They're highly trained professionals, but many companies have that asset. What I'd like to think makes Luba a bit different is that we use those talents in a way that truly is dedicated to serving the needs of the folks who depend on us.
Hey there, little buddy. What's the matter?
What's the matter? My windows, siding, and my door. That's what's the matter.
Relief Windows can fix all of that. I got you. Pop, pop. What's up?
Oh my gosh, look!
Curb appeal. That's a good-looking neighborhood. ReliefWindows.com.
Follow us on Twitter at 1045ESPN to cast your vote in the Citizens Bank and Trust Poll of the Day. Vote daily inside Off the Bench, anytime. Hunt Palmer. And after further review, Citizens Bank and Trust brings you the Poll of the Day via Twitter at 1045ESPN.
This is SportsCenter.
I'm Christine Lisi. Police in Tennessee conducted a welfare check on Grizzlies star Ja Morant today following cryptic messages on his Instagram story account. Officials told TMZ Morant's fine. He's just taking a break from social media. He was suspended from all team activities after a video of him holding a gun circulated on social media May 13th. Panthers captain Alexander Barkov returns from a lower body injury tonight. Game 4 NHL East Final against Carolina. Florida's top line getting a major boost. Barkov 16 points in 15 games this postseason. Also clutch on faceoffs. Hockey Hall of Famer and ESPN NHL analyst Chris Chelios.
He does everything great. He's a solid centerman, offensively, defensively. He's a captain, the leader, and he does it all. And you need depth. And he's part of that depth and a very important part of it. But it's good news for Florida that he's back. Bad for Carolina.
Florida slight minus 115 favorite to win, complete the sweep and advance to the Stanley Cup final. The A's and state of Nevada reached a tentative deal on a stadium funding plan. A's have been looking for years for a home to replace the Coliseum.
How would you love a chance to save some money on car insurance? Geico can help. Switch today and see all the ways you could save with great rates and discounts. It's easy. Simply go to geico.com to get a rate quote and get started seeing how much you could save.
Now, Hunt Palmer on 104.5 ESPN Baton Rouge. Holding down the middle of the day. Live from the Mercedes-Benz of Baton Rouge studios. This is Hunt Palmer.
Hour 2 on a Wednesday. Hunt Palmer Show, 104.5 ESPN Baton Rouge. We'll head out to the Jim's Firearms Hotline, chat with our guy Doug Thompson, who was on the call today in Hoover. Doug's brought to you by Louisiana Firefighters Foundation, who aim to create a safer community by offering training courses to current Louisiana firefighters and first responders, as well as free training and consulting services to our community business owners, teachers, and administrators by offering a variety of safety courses and consulting services that'll better prepare them for unexpected and ultimately create a safer Louisiana. Doug joins us now. Duggar, you about to hit the course?
Hunter, I'm trying, brother. I'm trying to find this place. I'm actually going to meet an old pitcher from Auburn, a guy by the name of Coulter Bean, actually pitched in the big leagues for a little bit. But we're going to go catch up at some course nearby Birmingham or Hoover, and I'm, of course, going to be late. That won't hit any balls, but it really doesn't matter.
That's all right. $10 aside, you'll clean up. That'll be $30 free bucks. You can spend it on a nice dinner tonight over there in Hoover. All right, you got the early morning call this morning. What was the environment like at the Hoover Met?
Well, as per the usual, the purple and gold outranked the Gamecock fan by about 9-1. They were there. They were early. It wasn't full, but I mean, it was surprisingly full considering it's 9:30 a.m. on Wednesday morning. Let's put it that way.
What do you think about the energy of the players for a 9:30 game? That doesn't necessarily mean a ton to LSU, but they played like it did.
I happened to be walking in the media gate the same time the players were. They walk in through the same gate, and I was sitting there as they were searching through my laptops and whatnot, and I was checking that out. Like, do these guys look tired? They look like they just woke up, and I was kind of surprised. They looked ready to roll. They looked like they had probably woke up around 7:38, probably ate some breakfast, and got moving. So they certainly didn't play like they were tired.
What's the difference between good Thatcher Hurd and not so good Thatcher Hurd?
Getting ahead and staying ahead. His fastball's 95 to 97 today. If he gets behind and he comes back with a strike, he's very effective. When he goes 3-0, and he goes strike one and then ball four, or leaves one up in the zone, he's not. But dude, that's any pitcher in the world, right? So when Thatcher Hurd with that stuff gets ahead and stays ahead, he's as good of a college pitcher as you'll see, and we saw that the first 4 innings where he was perfect.
When you look at next week, and they got to play 3 or 4 or 5 games, and do you envision Thatcher Hurd as a guy who's going to start a game, or as a guy who's going to come in the 8th when they got to finish one off?
I'm glad that Jay Johnson has to make that decision
Yeah.
because, we talk a lot about this void for the third starter, right? Like trying to find that third starter, who's the right person. And I guess that matters, but the Super Regional's 3 games. And for me, we've got 2 starters that everybody feels good with. Ty Floyd's cooking. Paul Skeens is cooking right now, of course. But the thing is, who's going to pitch in the 9th inning? That 1-run lead.
Yeah.
That's more the issue that we have to figure out. So that's a great question. I think it's the $1 million question. Is it more important for Thatcher Hurd to be a starter right now or a stopper out of the bullpen?
We shall see, but certainly Nate Ackenhausen was a stopper out of the bullpen today. 3 walks, which isn't great, but 6 strikeouts, and he got you through the rest of the game.
Yeah, great segue to Akak there. That's about as good as he can throw it. And, yeah, the strike zone changed a little bit. Maybe there were some close pitches there, but he certainly got away with one, I thought, with the bases loaded, the curveball with a 3-2 count. Looked like it was a little bit up, but for the Tigers and for him, that kind of created a momentum that never changed after that. When he came in, I think it was the 6th inning, he came in with 1 out.
Yeah.
And he got a big strikeout there and then a ground ball back to him to get out of that bases-loaded jam. And, baseball, like every sport, I guess, but maybe more so with baseball, it's really all about momentum and the momentum swings and who's riding them. And at that moment in the game, there was a big chance for South Carolina to jump back in with some big momentum, with a big hit there. Even another walk could have really crippled LSU's efforts. But instead he comes through with a strikeout. And then the next inning, he gives up a couple base runners and then, answers that with 3 strikeouts. And, yes, that's what we're starting to need out of the bullpen. It felt great to give the player of the game afterwards, although there is no committee and there's no voting. It's really just me. You know how that goes, right?
I do.
But it did feel good to look at that line with 10 runs on the board. Every guy in the offense got a base hit at least. Joe Bear hit the big home run, and, of course, that was the play of the game in my opinion. But, really, Nate Ackenhausen was the player of the game. He came in, and it's not easy. You would think, right, it's easy to pitch with a lead. But it depends on how big that lead is. Like, if that's a 1 or 2 run lead, maybe you get your best out of a pitcher. But if it's 6 or 7 runs, I'll tell you, just from personal experience, that wasn't when I was my best. I'm not necessarily saying I let my guard go down, but I just didn't pitch the same and didn't feel the same with that big 6 or 7 run lead. And he had to protect that for three innings against a team in South Carolina that can really swing it.
Josh Pearson's kind of been inserted over the last 4 ball games and has produced. What do you make of that?
How big is that right now? To have a guy like Pearson step up too. This lineup is already, crazy good and crazy deep. And that kid can really get it done. 2 big hits for him today. He runs the bases well. He plays defense well. He made a great play. Actually, I think it was the first play of the game. It was a tough play down the right field line, and he made it look easy. I think it was the 3rd out, actually, of the 1st inning. But he covered a lot of ground to do that. So he can play his position and swing the bat, which, again, that's what you're looking for.
Last one here, Doug. I appreciate your time. You've been in this tournament. You've been on teams that had championship aspirations. Now that they've got 1 win, Thatcher Hurd's pitched pretty well. What else do they have to gain over the next few days, if anything?
Momentum, baby.
Right.
Momentum. In the postseason, keep winning. There's been some great teams that have run off some unbelievable postseason stretches. Even if you look through the 2000 team, what was the team the last year at the box? What did they win? 23 straight at the end of the year. So that's what you're looking for right now, because it's who's hottest in the postseason that matters. Nothing before now matters, including that last 2-weekend stretch with LSU where, the consensus in the community, if you listen, was that they're falling apart and that they don't have a pitching staff. But the reality was they were playing 2 teams whose backs were literally against the wall. May not make the final 64. And the difference between the bottom of the SEC and the top, don't look at the numbers so much as you got to look at those players. It's really not that big of a margin of difference. And when a team's back's against the wall, it's just really tough to put them away. I'm not making excuses for the Tigers' last couple of weeks because the pitching out of the bullpen has been really tough to watch. They haven't been able to get ahead. But you're looking for momentum. Tomorrow, we're looking for a guy out of the bullpen to do exactly what Nate Ackenhausen did today. Show Jay Johnson, show Wes Johnson, hey, Coach, I'm ready to pitch in the postseason too if you should need me.
Hit him straight, Doug. We appreciate it.
Appreciate you, buddy.
That's Doug Thompson, former LSU right-hander, national champion, and now member of the LSU Sports Radio Network. Chris Blair, as he told us on Monday, was not available today at his son's graduation. He'll be there on the call tomorrow for a 4:30 first pitch, and I'll be spending a lot of time with Chris Blair and Doug Thompson tomorrow as I hit the road for Shreveport, and I'll be about hitting the road first pitch, so they'll be with me the whole way. Hopefully the Myers man keeps it down in the back and maybe gets a little shut-eye as we head up to the port city. I'll be out on Friday. Taylor Sharp will be sitting in for me, but I'll be here tomorrow as we get you ready for LSU and the winner of Arkansas and Texas A&M. Speaking of the winner of Arkansas and Texas A&M, I'll tell you what those two teams have in terms of pitching and kind of what I expect to see from LSU in that game before we get to Chris Demouy coming up at 2:30. That's next on the Hunt Palmer Show.
This is Hunt Palmer. In times of need, get a full list of phone numbers, websites, and other important emergency information on the Demco Stormwatch page at 1045ESPN.com.
What's up, y'all? It's that time again. It's heating up. Your boat's getting ready to come out and spend all summer on the water. It's time to take your boat to the next level with front-to-back boat service, where if you want an incredible custom speaker install, it's going to blow people away in the water, that's there for you. You want an HD sonar where you can see the fish under the water before you cast, beat all your friends, that's there for you at front-to-back boat service. So don't put it off. We got the parts in right now. Get them now before they go back on back order. Front-to-back boat service.
Gulf Coast Office Products is a nationally recognized Savin office equipment dealer based right here in Louisiana. Over 100 employees strong, Gulf Coast has the boots on the ground to support all vertical markets, from education, engineering, legal, and finance. With the latest in office technology, from desktop to production segment units, Gulf Coast and Savin have the perfect fit for you. Call 225-756-2644. That's 756-2644 for Gulf Coast Office Products.
When is a taco more than just a taco? When it's Government Taco. Voted best tacos 3 years in a row by 225 Magazine, Government Taco puts the most delicious spin on tacos the capital area has ever seen. With creative combinations like the Magna Carrot, the Filibuster, or the Steak of the Union. Plus perfect tortilla chips paired with the best salsa and queso you've ever had. And happy hour every day from 3 to 6 p.m. and all day on Thursday. Government Taco, 5621 Government Street.
There it is, the extra mile, on the border of expected and extraordinary for those willing to go further, like vans customized for work or play, with safety and tech to keep you connected, supported by a 5-star sales, service, and finance team, and backed by the 1-star you know. So go the extra mile. It's never crowded, because so few have what it takes to go there. Mercedes-Benz Vans.
I've been doing business with Luba for 25 years. They're dependable, trustworthy. It's just the attention to detail with our clients.
Our folks have years and years of experience. They're highly trained professionals, but many companies have that asset. What I'd like to think makes Luba a bit different is that we use those talents in a way that truly is dedicated to serving the needs of the folks who depend on us.
Hey there, little buddy. What's the matter?
What's the matter? My windows, siding, and my door. That's what's the matter.
Relief Windows can fix all of that. I got you. What's up?
Oh my gosh, look!
Curb appeal. That's a good-looking neighborhood. ReliefWindows.com.
Electricity is all around us, and our families depend on it. Every day is sparked by the power of a cold.
Matt Moscona inviting you to join us for Wednesday's Hump Day AFR, presented by Pluckers. LSU underway at the SEC tournament. We'll recap Tigers and Gamecocks. Join us 3 to 6, 104.5 ESPN Baton Rouge.
You're listening to Hunt Palmer on 104.5 ESPN Baton Rouge.
Aggies threatening here in the top of the third inning. They've got the bases loaded and nobody out. Arkansas is headed to the bullpen. They went and got Zach Morris. No, not that Zach Morris, the one that plays for Arkansas. No say by the bell. But he is a pretty good left-handed pitcher. He's out there for Arkansas. So here's the deal with LSU tomorrow with Arkansas and Texas A&M. Depends on what you want, right? Is all you care about tomorrow if you're an LSU fan? I'm talking to you, the fan, not Jay Johnson, not me, you, the fan. Depends on what you want. If you just want to win the game tomorrow, then pull for Texas A&M. Texas A&M has really two guys on their roster who have been full-time starters this year. Nathan Detmer started 13 games. He had a 6 ERA. And Troy Wansing started 11 games. Nobody else started more than 7. Troy Wansing was brilliant yesterday. He's burned. And Nathan Detmer's pitching today. So they don't have anybody left that is a full-time starter. Evan Aschenbeck has been their best pitcher, left-hander out of the bullpen, ERA about 3.3. He's been really good. He closed the game yesterday, and he's a really strong option for them, but he's not a starter necessarily. They could start him, but they don't have anybody left that's a real starting pitcher. So if you want to win the game, A&M is a better matchup for LSU. They'll have to go with a bullpen game, and LSU's offense figures to be in good shape in a bullpen game. If you want the best resume booster because you're trying to get the number 2 national seed, Arkansas is better. You could move you have the opportunity. It's not going to hurt your RPI to play them because they're right there with you. And if you could beat them, you'd have a 3-1 advantage on them in the season. So if you're looking for purely seeding perspective, Arkansas is the better. And then there's a third one that's just, what do you want the team to see? What do you want Skeens to face? What do you want the offense to face? And that's kind of where I am. So for me, I'm pulling for Arkansas in this game because I don't think it matters that much for LSU's seeding. And I would really like LSU to face Hagen Smith tomorrow, and that's who I think Arkansas will throw in their game tomorrow. They did play Thursday, Friday, Saturday against Vanderbilt over the weekend like you're supposed to. It wasn't a situation like South Carolina where they got all jacked up by the rain. Hagen Smith pitched on Thursday, and he threw 84 pitches. He would be on full rest tomorrow. It would stand to reason their best pitcher on full rest would go tomorrow. He's the best left-handed starter in the league, and I would love to see Hagen Smith face LSU tomorrow. I think that would be good for LSU's lineup to see a really tough left-handed pitcher tomorrow, and that's who I think they would see. I don't think Brady Tigert is going to pitch tomorrow. He threw 62 pitches on Friday. He's coming back from injury. Why rush him back? It's not necessarily a rush, but and then Hunter Holland's the other guy. He pitched the Saturday game for him, threw 55 pitches. I'm sure he'd be ready, but why push it? I think Hagen Smith, just like LSU's got Paul Skeens ready to go. He pitched on Thursday. He's ready to go. Hagen Smith's ready to go tomorrow. So that's my preference for tomorrow. But I can listen to any of the other ones. It's like I said in the first hour, LSU has now reached the point of this tournament where nothing really matters. Just decide how you want to handle it, how you want to look at it. Do you want to, like we asked Doug Thompson, what do they have to play for? He said momentum. Get hot, win the whole thing, win every game, run rule people. Carry it on. Play the best in May and June. Got some people saying don't even throw Skeens tomorrow. Rest him the whole week. Get him ready for June. You got some people saying throw him for 50 pitches. Just keep him on his schedule, but don't overtax him. You got some people saying, no, just keep him on his regular rotation. Go out there and pitch. You got some people saying, I want the 2 seed. Let's go. I don't think any of them are dead wrong. I would suggest that forcing the issue and throwing Skeens 124 pitches tomorrow would be bordering on wrong, if not wrong. But me personally, I'm saying I'd like Skeens to face Arkansas's lineup. He dominated both of these teams. These were the first 2 weeks of conference play. And we went to College Station, and everybody went nuts. Schlossnagle said, I've seen Strasburg. He's the best I've seen. You had Dave Van Horn singing his praises. Everybody. He dominated these 2 teams. They've both seen him. I don't really care about that either. I'm not concerned. I would like our offense to face Hagen Smith tomorrow. That's where I am in this whole deal. Gage would be nice to see as well. He's been great for Arkansas as a closer. And that's kind of where I am. If Hagen Smith goes out there and carves LSU up tomorrow, so be it. They saw a tough lefty. Maybe they learned something from it. But that's kind of where I am as opposed to facing A&M's bullpen for a whole game. I know they can hit that. And maybe that's more apt to what we'll see from a 2 seed or even a 4 seed based on how deep you get in A&M's bullpen. But that's kind of where I am. As far as what I think LSU will do tomorrow, Charlie said this earlier. I totally agree, and this is not based on any conversation that I've had with anybody at LSU or in the program. This is 100% Hunt's opinion on what will happen. I want to clarify that because I think there's times where I'm just telling you this is what's going on over there. This is not one of those times. I don't think they're going to warm Paul Skeens up for a 4:30 start, send him out there for 55 pitches in 3 innings and sit him down. I don't think they're going to do that. I don't think that would be criminal. I think he's going to go out there and throw 100 pitches. Aaron Nola went out there in the SEC tournament and threw 100 pitches. Alex Lang went out there in the SEC tournament and threw 100 pitches. Paul Skeens at, 23 years old, 22 years old? At 22 years old, 6'6", 240 pounds, with 100 and change innings under his belt, is not going to at all compromise his stamina and ability to pitch next Saturday by going out tomorrow at 4:30 in the afternoon against Hoover, playing Texas A&M or Arkansas and throwing 100 pitches. Now, he throws 132. That's too much. 100, good. Get him loose, get him lathered, let him execute some pitches, let him throw some breaking balls, let him throw some change-ups, and work on what he needs to work on, and then throw some ice on it. See you next Saturday. You're not going to compromise next week's pitches 110 to 123 because he threw 100 on Thursday of SEC tournament week. He's going to be on extra rest from what he normally gets. So that's what I think is going to happen. I don't think you're looking at some sort of abbreviated outing. Now, what Jay Johnson decides to do with the rest of the bullpen tomorrow, that is, I think, a little bit more up in the air. I think he'd like to get Griffin Herring and Gavin Guidry out there for sure. I'd like to see Bryce Collins throw a few more pitches, quite frankly. But you no longer, and that's the beauty of this whole thing that I keep going back to, in tomorrow's game, you can do whatever you want, and it doesn't matter at all what happens Friday. Like, if there are 2 guys you want to make sure pitch, get them in there. You don't have to worry about winning the Ty Floyd start. Well, Ty might only give us 5. Maybe he only gives us 6. I got to have a couple. No, you don't. You don't. You can have whatever you want on Friday. So it's a blank canvas for Jay to work with, and that's what I think he will do. If I had to guess who Texas A&M was going to start, I would go with some version of Justin Lampkin or Chris Cortez. Both of those guys have ERAs over 6.3. Shane Sadeo has been pretty good as a reliever. He has started 2 games, but his ERA again is 4.9. They don't have anybody that has 15 appearances on the year that's ERA is better than 3.6. And most of them are Josh Stewart at 5.7, Matt Dillard at 5.9, Troy he was good yesterday, but Ty Sexton at 6.1, Justin Lampkin at 6.3, Chris Cortez at 7.44, Carson Lambert at 8.1. Like, it's a pitching staff that's been bad. Now, they've hit the ball in the last 3 weeks, and that's why they've made their way into the NCAA field. And I mean, they're up 3-0 right now. I should have mentioned that. Texas A&M leads 3-0. They put a 3 spot up when Arkansas had to go to the bullpen for Adcock and go get Zach Morris. but they're out of starters who have been anything positive this year. So again, you want to win. You want to win tomorrow. You want to get to the weekend and win this SC tournament. Gig 'em. You want the Ags. I kind of would rather play Arkansas. Give me the team that's a real national championship contender with a true ace on the mound in a good environment tomorrow. And I think that's better for LSU's players to get in that environment that'll be pretty full. I mean, now LSU fans know that LSU's going to be there until Friday. You can hop in the car right now and go if you want. And LSU's been known to do that. It sounds crazy, but LSU's been known to do that. Now you know if you go today, you're going to get 2 games, which you would have known today as well. But I would rather play in a big environment against a really good team and a really good pitcher. I think that's the best way to go about it. So let's throw a poll up. Citizens Bank and Trust poll question of the day. Who would you rather LSU face tomorrow, Arkansas or Texas A&M? We'll give you the results coming up at the end of the show, coming up at 3 o'clock. We've still got more to get to here on this edition of the Hunt Palmer Show. We're going to chat with Chris Demouy, he of the 60 Feet 6 Inches LSU Baseball podcast. He's with us each and every Wednesday. And I got a question for Demouy about Paul Skeens and what makes the most sense. I know Demouy was not a guy that was going 130 pitches every weekend, 120 pitches like Skeens has been going 110. But what does he think in terms of the way that pitchers feel this time of year? How should Paul Skeens be used tomorrow? We'll get Demouy's thoughts on that and a lot more coming up next on the Hunt Palmer Show.
This is Hunt Palmer. Our listeners fire off their opinions on the jimsfirearms.net hotline at 499-1045. Keep listening for your next chance to shoot us your thoughts with the jimsfirearms.net hotline on 1045 ESPN Baton Rouge.
I drove myself to the ER, had heart surgery, and drove myself home 24 hours later, feeling fine. Starting running again after the procedure. I'm getting excited thinking about it. I had no pain, nothing. I felt great. And right then and there, I was like, oh my God, I'm back. I'm back. It's just amazing.
Ochsner Health. Long live you.
When is a taco more than just a taco? When it's Government Taco. Voted best tacos 3 years in a row by 225 Magazine, Government Taco puts the most delicious spin on tacos the capital area has ever seen. With creative combinations like the Magna Carrot, the Filibuster, or the Steak of the Union. Plus perfect tortilla chips paired with the best salsa and queso you've ever had. And happy hour every day from 3 to 6 p.m. and all day on Thursday. Government Taco, 5621 Government Street.
Hello, Samantha, dear, I hope you're feeling fine. And it won't be long until I'm with you all the time. But until then, I spend my money up right down on my last dime. Come home, in Baton Rouge. I'm ready what you put me on through. Gotta send my love down the
Hey, what's up, y'all? It's that time again. It's heating up. Your boat's getting ready to come out and spend all summer on the water. It's time to take your boat to the next level with front-to-back boat service, where if you want an incredible custom speaker install, it's going to blow people away in the water, that's there for you. You want an HD sonar where you can see the fish under the water before you cast, beat all your friends, that's there for you at front-to-back boat service. So don't put it off. We got the parts in right now. Get them now before they go back on back order. Front-to-back boat service.
Gulf Coast Office Products is a nationally recognized Savin office equipment dealer based right here in Louisiana. Over 100 employees strong, Gulf Coast has the boots on the ground to support all vertical markets, from education, engineering, legal, and finance. With the latest in office technology, from desktop to production segment units, Gulf Coast and Savin have the perfect fit for you. Call 225-756-2644. That's 756-2644 for Gulf Coast Office Products.
There it is, the extra mile, on the border of expected and extraordinary, for those willing to go further, like vans customized for work or play, with safety and tech to keep you connected, supported by a 5-star sales, service, and finance team, and backed by the 1-star you know. So go the extra mile. It's never crowded, because so few have what it takes to go there. Mercedes-Benz Vans.
I've been doing business with Luba for 25 years. They're dependable, trustworthy. It's just the attention to detail with our clients.
Our folks have years and years of experience. They're highly trained professionals. But many companies have that asset. What I'd like to think makes Luba a bit different is that we use those talents in a way that truly is dedicated to serving the needs of the folks who depend on us.
Hey there, little buddy. What's the matter?
What's the matter? My windows, siding, and my door. That's what's the matter.
Relief Windows can fix all of that. I got you.
Pop,
pop. What's up?
Oh my gosh, look!
Curb appeal.
Join me, Jimmy Ott, for the Wednesday edition of Game Time. Go see my boy Miguel at Modesto. Modesto on Burbank, right by Walk-Ons. It's the Wednesday edition of Game Time, 6 to 8 p.m. from Modesto on 104.5 ESPN Baton Rouge.
This is Hunt Palmer on 104.5 ESPN Baton Rouge.
All right, let's head back to the Jim's Firearms Hotlines where we find our guy Chris Demouy, 60 feet 6 inch LSU baseball podcast, weekly guest. Mr. Demouy, how are you?
I'm doing good, Hunt. How you doing, buddy?
I'm good. Tigers win. Got a game tomorrow afternoon when I'll be on the road. Perfect timing on the end of the game today that led us right into kind of a post-game show here. It's been a delight. What did you like today from the Tigers?
Thatcher Hurd.
Yeah.
I think he's the story of the game. And, the season's just blurring together, but that's one of the more complete games, I think, that I can remember from a defensive perspective, hitting perspective. Jay Johnson said it after the game. I caught some of the broadcast at the beginning and the end, and he said his interview with the SEC Network, they did it bunch of different ways, right? They scored by walks, they hit the home run, 2-out RBIs, and you really, really got to like what you saw from Thatcher Hurd today. And then I like Nate Ackenhausen getting extended time on the mound just to work out some kinks. Since he's been back from injury, it's been kind of up and down, and he got a chance to throw and get himself out of a little bit of trouble and try to fix some things. But you got to walk away very happy with this win today as a Tiger fan.
You've been a part of a pitching staff that has a really good offense on the other side, and even aces at the top of the rotation. I talked early in the show, and I said, look, I have no inside information of what goes on over there. But they've had 4 days of doing very little together on the road. Would it stand to reason that some of the guys on the pitching staff kind of looked around and went, all right, it's time for us to get it in gear, because if we do, we're going to be really tough to beat. And I saw a couple of guys in Hurd and Ackenhausen today that were emotional on the mound, that were competitive on the mound, and that succeeded on the mound. And I'm reaching a little bit, but it doesn't seem that far-fetched to me.
No, I think you hit the nail on the head. Look, school's over. They're basically playing professional baseball right now, right? They wake up, they go to the park, they lift weights, they condition, they go back, they wake up, they go to the park. This is the best time to be a college baseball player. So, yeah, of course. And especially when all you have to do is sit out there and shag fly balls from these crew, just like my teams, and you look around and you're like, we got a chance to win this whole thing, like a legitimate chance. So if we just kind of do our job, for the most part, they're going to take care of themselves, no matter who they face, right? So I think, what you saw from her today was really, really encouraging. He goes 100 pitches. It's hot out there. It's humid. And he may have gotten a little gassed at the end, but I love how he threw just so many fastballs. He really pitched off his fastball today, and even though he fell behind, he could probably fix that up. But he fell behind. But his fastball played today because he was still blowing it by South Carolina hitters and his plus count. So I'm sure they had time to sit around the hotel or in the plane flight or the bus ride and say, yeah, if we get our stuff in here, we got to have a legit, not just a good shot, a really, really good shot to win this whole thing.
Get back to LSU here. But I do want to mention to the audience that both teams now in this Arkansas and Texas A&M game have gone to the bullpen in the third inning. Shane Sadeo coming on for Ole Miss. Zach Morris has already been called on by Arkansas. So a lot of arms going to be used between these two teams today as the winner We'll get LSU tomorrow at 4:30. All right, back to LSU, Chris. I'm so fascinated by how Jay Johnson's going to deploy Thatcher Hurd next weekend in a regional. He's done for the SC tournament. Throw some ice on it. Go play some golf tomorrow if you want, whatever. But we'll see you next weekend. What is his role in a regional?
I didn't know what it was going to be until coming into today because he's really thrived in that bullpen role lately. Being able to close games down like you saw in New Jersey, even though he gave up the lead, he could extend, right, and let LSU's bats come around. And I thought he would be the perfect potential complement. I've always thought you start Javen Coleman game one, right? In the regionals, in a 14 regional, the biggest game is game number 2. You win that game and somebody has to beat you twice, assuming you win the first one. So I want the best pitcher in the country, in my opinion, the best pitcher in the country to win what I think is the most important game in the regional. And people will go back and forth, but that's just what I would do. After seeing Hurd's performance today, you may lose something on the back end, but if he can get you 6 innings against a 4 seed and hopefully you're up, 8 or 9 to 2, and then you let the bullpen take over, then you think Skeens is going to get you 7, you hope, and then Ty Floyd's been rolling. I would start in game 1 in the regional moving forward, though.
It's going to be very, very interesting. I said I'm making no take here. I've been on the record saying, look, I'll tell you Tuesday who I would start on Friday when I see who they're playing. It's a very different thing. 1 4 seed to another is just a different thing. And again, we had information. We had a decade to go on what Paul Maneri was going to do. I could pretty much always tell you who he was going to start in game 1 of a regional, except one time he started Poche. I thought he was nuts for doing it, and then Poche came back on Monday and was incredible. So that was it turned out he was right and I was an idiot. But I don't know what Jay's going to do because he's never played a home regional as the 1 seed. So we have no book to go on with Jay.
Yeah, it'll be interesting. I know we'll definitely, we'll talk about that probably the majority of the segment next week. But Thatcher Hurd was great today. Ty Floyd's been good for 3 or 4 of his last couple of SEC starts. But you don't have to go back that far to where you say those guys were struggling to get out of the 3rd or 4th inning. And I think he has shown no willingness to bring Skeens back. He hasn't had to, but I also know how much Jay respects the arms of these guys and the potential. Right, you don't want to ruin a Paul Skeens and his Major League Baseball potential for a regional game. And I just don't know if he would bring him back after going 5 or 6 innings against a 4 seed for him to close out a game. Now, Bertman did because he conditioned those guys to do that throughout the year. Thompson, Coogan, Ship, all those guys, did that. I don't know if Skeens is.
I'll stop you there. There's no chance. There's no chance Paul Skeens pitching on Friday. The question is, do you want to throw Blake Money out there? Do you want to go Thatcher Hurd and compromise your bullpen there? Or do you want to go Ty Floyd on the front end and just try to get it done Sunday one way or another? That's the discussion. Skeens is off the table. Yeah, he's pitching on Saturday.
We'll see. I'm with you. But after today, I'm going Thatcher Hurd.
I would not.
Before today, I was going Coleman. So.
Okay. Well, yeah, and Javid Coleman is certainly in that mix as well. They're starting to create some options, which may be a good thing. They may have had no options as of 3 weeks ago. Now they may have some options here. What are they playing for the rest of the way in Hoover? I asked Doug Thompson this question 30 minutes ago.
I didn't hear that, so it'd be interesting to hear what Doug's take on that was. Just to get on a roll, get some guys going that maybe haven't been going. You see in Pearson, he started to look really good. Trey Morgan's barreling up everything. He's hitting just a ton of atom balls. Joe Bear is rolling right now. Travinsky's been hot. And I think right now Skeens is going to throw tomorrow. So you're trying to get guys that need to throw for you in the regionals and super regionals. You want them to get on the mound again. That was always Bertman's philosophy. Maneri was very different, right? And the regionals changed. But Bertman just wanted to play a couple of games, play good baseball. If you lose, you lose. And just make sure everybody who needs to throw in the regionals would throw. But obviously times have changed. So I think you're playing for a chance to, you could potentially jump up and get a 2 or 3 national seed. So you're playing for that, and it's pride. They don't want to go out there and lose games. But, I think if you win tomorrow, you might as well just go out there and try and win it, right? You're there. So just go try and win it if you win tomorrow, which I think they will. So
well,
I don't know. I don't know what Doug said. I'd be interested to get his take on it.
You said play to get on a roll. Doug said momentum. So y'all said the exact same thing. Get out there and get it done. So I know that you weren't exactly handling Paul Skeens' workload on Friday nights, but as a pitcher and somebody at this time of year with a lot of innings under your belt, kind of understanding what your role is going to be moving forward, Is there an advantage to pulling Paul Skeens after 50 or 70 pitches tomorrow, or is it just better to keep him in routine, throw him his normal 110, and we'll see you next Saturday?
Man, that's a really great question. I guess it would just depend on. I think it just depends on the game, right? I mean, if it's 0-0 going into the sixth and he's throwing 80 pitches, then you probably just let him go. If it's 8-1 going into the fifth and he's thrown 70 pitches, maybe you talk to him and talk to Wes Johnson and just throttle him down. He's handled the workload really well. I know he's not used to this heat, and it doesn't feel like it's gotten hot yet, but it's going to get there. And the good thing, I guess, is if he throws tomorrow and then he potentially throws Saturday, like me and you were talking about in a regional, he's got extra time to rest. So you may just let him go out there and throw his normal workload, and then he has 2 days, an extra 2 days to rest. I'm sure that would figure into it, though. But obviously, you're not going to leave him out there if he's laboring for any reason. But I don't see why he would. That hasn't happened this year yet. But so, long answer, I would probably keep him on his normal workload.
There's a long ball for the Aggies. They're up 4-0 on Arkansas at this point.
Wow.
Okay. I know you follow the league pretty closely, and I broke this down for my audience. I'll ask the same question to you here. Arkansas is going to throw Hagen Smith tomorrow, win or lose. He'll be on normal rest, and I think it's his time to go. And A&M has basically thrown their two quote-unquote starters. Wansing was really good yesterday, and then today Detmer was his normal self, which was not very good. But they don't really have anybody else that has been a full-time quality starter. So if you want to win the game, A&M is probably a better team to face. You're going to face the back end of their bullpen, which isn't very good. Or if you want to face just a more stiff competition with Hagen Smith in Arkansas, that would be the other option. Which would you rather play?
I think A&M doesn't have anywhere close to staff. Like I don't want to have to face Hagen Smith regardless because that dude is rolling right now. But you could say the same about A&M's bats. One thing, Arkansas has been hit by a lot of injuries, and I don't think their lineup is nearly as strong as it was when it came to LSU. I think the bottom of their order is a bunch of guys that hit singles. If you can kind of handle the top, Stovall's out for the year, so you got Slavins and Wagner's back from injury now. Diggs is good, but Arkansas doesn't really scare you from a hitting perspective. I mean, they can string some stuff together, but they really rely on their arms right now. So I'd rather face A&M. Look, I don't want to face Hagen Smith. I mean, that guy could shut LSU down for 7 innings. He's just that good. So I'm sure A&M will run out some lefties against LSU, but I'm not. I think the lefty thing has been put to bed. I mean, if people don't believe it, they can go look up the stats. They're doing fine against lefties, so I would much rather face A&M. Even though they're rolling a little bit right now, I think, that's just who I – but they do take a lot of pitches, and they're going to try to drive up Skeen's pitch count. That's the other thing you got to worry about. A&M's more than happy to hit with 2 strikes. And so that's kind of aggravating, but that's kind of the other side of the coin, I guess.
I actually kind of said the opposite. I just want him to face Hagen Smith because you're going to face some good pitchers coming up in the next month. You might as well get a look at a really good one right now with no stress and no pressure on you to go out there and see what you can do against him. That was kind of my thought.
No.
Now, it's easy for me to say because I don't have to stand in there against him, but it just as a test for the lineup, go ahead.
I guess. I mean, we could say that, but I don't want – look, you think Jay Johnson wants to face Hagen? I don't want to face Hagen Smith. I think it's mid-90s from the left with a crazy breaking ball. I mean, no, heck no. I'd rather face a depleted A&M staff any day of the week. I would. Now, look, I mean, the chance to beat Arkansas and get your RPI up there and another big-time win, I mean, that's also in the cards as well. But, look, I'd rather face A&M just because of the pitching situation.
Well, it looks that way right now. 4-0 Aggies as they play in the 4th inning. Have a good holiday weekend, Demouy. We'll talk next week and get ready for the regional.
All right, you too, buddy. Appreciate it, Hunt.
Chris Demouy, 60 Feet 6 Inches LSU Baseball podcast preview and reaction to every single weekend. He'll have you covered on the SEC tournament, and he'll get you ready for a regional as well. Appreciate him joining us every single Wednesday. We'll come back, play some Take It or Leave It, and close it out on the Hunt Palmer Show.
Hunt Palmer on 104.5 ESPN Baton Rouge.
One Bath and Closets, onebathandclosets.com is the website. Look, how much more luxurious and comfortable would your home be with the bathroom of your dreams? You can do it in the same house you live in right now. One Bath and Closets can help you. David Duvall and his team have been doing it for 30 years. It can be a full-scale renovation of your entire bathroom, floors, plumbing, shower, whole deal. Or something simple, cost-effective, time-effective, like a tub-to-shower conversion. Let them come in, give you a free consultation. They'll tell you what they can do with your space, and then they'll customize the bathroom to your exact specifications. On the closet side, Custom Closet can change your world. Some have shoes all over the floor, suitcases everywhere. You're cramming clothes in there. Let One Bath Closets come in there and just fix it up. They can put different drawers and cubbies, mirrors, all kinds of things, racks, and they can customize the closet to you so that you've got less clutter. OneBathAndClosets.com is the website. It's OneBathAndClosets.com.
In times of need, get a full list of phone numbers, websites, and other important emergency information on the Demco Stormwatch page at 1045ESPN.com.
Hey, what's up, y'all? It's that time again. It's heating up. Your boat's getting ready to come out and spend all summer on the water. It's time to take your boat to the next level with front-to-back boat service, where if you want an incredible custom speaker install, it's going to blow people away in the water, that's there for you. You want an HD sonar where you can see the fish under the water before you cast, beat all your friends, that's there for you at front-to-back boat service. So don't put it off. We got the parts in right now. Get them now before they go back on back order. Front-to-back boat service.
The world's leaders in obesity research, obesity medicine, and obesity science are right here.
We're doing something that no one's ever done, or trying to answer a question that no one's ever asked before.
Pennington is a real jewel when it comes to research.
We are finding the solutions to the world's worst chronic disease, which is obesity. Louisiana needs Pennington Biomedical.
When is a taco more than just a taco? When it's Government Taco. Voted best tacos 3 years in a row by 225 Magazine, Government Taco puts the most delicious spin on tacos the capital area has ever seen. With creative combinations like the Magna Carrot, the Filibuster, or the Steak of the Union. Plus perfect tortilla chips paired with the best salsa and queso you've ever had. And happy hour every day from 3 to 6 p.m. and all day on Thursday. Government Taco, 5621 Government Street.
Gulf Coast Office Products is a nationally recognized Savin office equipment dealer based right here in Louisiana. Over 100 employees strong, Gulf Coast has the boots on the ground to support all vertical markets, from education, engineering, legal, and finance. With the latest in office technology, from desktop to production segment units, Gulf Coast and Savin have the perfect fit for you. Call 225-756-2644. That's 756-2644 for Gulf Coast Office Products.
There it is, the extra mile, on the border of expected and extraordinary, for those willing to go further, like vans customized for work or play, with safety and tech to keep you connected, supported by a 5-star sales, service, and finance team, and backed by the 1-star you know. So go the extra mile. It's never crowded, because so few have what it takes to go there. Mercedes-Benz Vans.
I've been doing business with Luba for 25 years. They're dependable, trustworthy. It's just the attention to detail with our clients.
Our folks have years and years of experience. They're highly trained professionals, but many companies have that asset. What I'd like to think makes Luba a bit different is that we use those talents in a way that truly is dedicated.
For live play-by-play of the SEC baseball tournament, starting with the quarterfinals Friday night at 6, then the semifinals Saturday at noon, and the championship game Sunday afternoon at 2, right here on 104.5 ESPN Baton Rouge.
You're listening to Hunt Palmer on 104.5 ESPN Baton Rouge.
I got to tell you, today's been a pretty good day at work. Came to work and turned on the pregame show for baseball. Then I watched baseball. In the middle of the baseball game, had a conference call, and my job on the conference call was to update the client on the score of the baseball game while my other coworker went through the data and the analytics. And then we put thoughts together on the baseball game and talked about the baseball game for 2 hours. That's a pretty good day at work. Now, I know most of you people out there, some of which were texting me during the game, were not working during that baseball game. I was working. I was doing show prep. All right? I got a feeling the productivity level around Louisiana was pretty poor from 9:30 to 12:30 today, based on my experience. But I was very productive, locked in, so I could bring you the information, huh? Fun day of work. And I'm glad, quite frankly, tomorrow that we don't have the same situation, because that would have mean that LSU lost the game and played at 9:30 in the morning. They will not. LSU will play at 4:30 tomorrow. South Carolina back in the 9:30 slot. South Carolina will get the loser of A&M Arkansas. LSU will get the winner of A&M and Arkansas tomorrow at 4:30. Games still to come in Hoover today. Florida will take on Alabama at 4:30, and Vanderbilt and Auburn the nightcap from the Hoover Met. So we'll get you caught up on all of that tomorrow before we preview LSU and whoever it may be, A&M or Arkansas. And we'll chat with Joe Healy tomorrow as well. Looking forward to our conversation with Joe. Hopefully it happens about on time, but we'll find a way to sneak our conversation in with Joe tomorrow as he has been in Hoover, and we'll be there all week long. All right, Jacob Beck, let's play some Take It or Leave It.
All right. The NFL approved a new rule stating that fair caught kickoffs and touchbacks will be spotted at the 25-yard line, just like college. Take it or leave it.
I'm fine with it. I'll take it.
I'll take it.
I understand that concussions are way up on kickoffs, and it's a dangerous play, and I understand that. And they're trying to do what they can. And I think some of the stuff that they do is pretty crazy and not necessary. This one I can get on board with. I realize the kickoff is super important play. If you execute it well, it can be a big advantage in terms of field position. I mean, listen to Pat McAfee talk about it. He opines on the fact that it's really important for kickers to execute and coverage teams to make tackles, and you can do a good job of getting yourself 6 or 8 yards, which is a big, big deal. In an era where kickers are money from 60 yards, like, you got to win the field position battle. So I understand the qualms with it. However, most kickoffs are touchbacks anyway, and I'm really there to see more of the offense and the defense play. I mean, that's the beef of football. So I'm just not going to get all worked up over this. Some people are. I think it was really, really voted against by the Players Association and a lot of people in the sport, but the league won over because of the safety aspect of it. I'll be just fine with it. Look, give him the ball at the 25-yard line. Let's go play some ball.
38-year-old Adrian Peterson says he's not officially retired, but if he doesn't get a roster spot this year, he will call it quits. AP will not play again. Take it or leave it.
I'll take it.
I'll take it.
I don't know why you would bring him in at this point. Running backs are pretty easy to find and identify. He's 38 years old, and we talk about tread on the tires. There's none on the tires. He ran a massive amount at Oklahoma, and he's run a massive amount over the last 18 years. So I just don't see why you would bring him in. I don't. It just feels like something you could. There's so many alternatives. There's not a ton of alternatives. Like when you're looking at trying to bring in Phillip Rivers at the end of his career, like, he can go out there and execute offense and understand, get everybody in the right spot, get you in the right play, and make most of the throws. There aren't that many guys that can do that. There are a lot of guys that can play running back for you, and I just don't feel like bringing in Adrian Peterson is worthwhile at all. So I think he's done. I think he knows he's done too.
Yeah. Last one here. The Celtics won Game 4 last night.
Yeah.
They're still down 3-1. The C's are back in the series. Take it or leave it.
I'll say they're in the series. Sure, I'll take it. I'll say they're in the series. And you can easily talk yourself into the Celtics winning the series and go, well, all they got to do is win a home game. And then they've just got to go to Miami, and they got to beat Miami once in Miami. And then they get a home game in Game 7. Like, that's an easy roadmap to follow. But you realize, and this is something I talked about with LSU basketball a lot this past season, when they would fall behind by 19, and then they'd scratch and fight their way back to get it to 5. But when you get down 19, everything has to go perfect the rest of the way for you to win. And when inevitably the other team goes on a little run, or you miss a couple shots, or something goes south, you've created such a hole that you couldn't get all the way to the top. The Celtics have created too deep a hole for them to get all the way home. At some point, they're not going to play great, and the Heat are, and that's the end of it. So I'm not 100% sure that the Celtics are going to lose the series. It would also be where Boston has the greatest comeback in the Super Bowl, the greatest comeback in the MLB playoffs, and they would have the greatest comeback in the NBA playoffs, because this has never happened before. But they've created too deep a hole. At some point over the next 3 games, it's going to click for the Heat. And at that point, the Celtics will be toast. That's my thought. It would be cool, or hot take radio, if I came over like, look, this is easy for them to do. You win 1 in Boston, you win Game 6, you win Game 7. They're the better team. They're going to get it done. And that sounds great, but the reality is, over the course of 3 basketball games, the Celtics are going to go cold at some point, and they're going to lose a game. And Miami is going to go to the final to play Denver. That's the way I see it. So that's it for Take It or Leave It here on this Wednesday. We opened the show with 30 straight minutes of LSU and South Carolina reaction. Tigers played a great baseball game today. Excellent effort from Thatcher Hurd. Really strong stuff from Nate Ackenhausen. The offense was great. Literally 1 through 9. The only guy who didn't get a hit was Jordan Thompson. He got on base twice and scored a run. So great job by the offense as well. And a clean game on defense. LSU played very, very well. Played What If Wednesday at 1:30. And then some thoughts on the rest of the SEC at the end of hour number 1. In hour 2, Doug Thompson joined us from Hoover. He was on the call yesterday. Today, he'll be on the color. Tomorrow, Chris Blair will be back in action, and Chris Demouy in his normal spot at 2:30. Appreciate Demouy for jumping aboard. One more check-in on A&M and Arkansas. It is 4-0 Aggies in the bottom of the 4th inning. LSU will get the winner tomorrow at 4:30, and we'll be previewing that during the show tomorrow, getting you ready for LSU and Arkansas. We'll also have a couple games to react to from tonight, which will be last night on tomorrow's show. All right, that'll do it for us here. Jimmy Ott's Game Time coming at you 6 to 8 this evening. That's about to drive you home on After Further Review. We will see you tomorrow, same time, same place. It's the Hunt Palmer Show.